I went down there to pay my respects to those guys. They walked the same trails that I walked, swallowed some of the same dust, shot at by the same guns that I was shooting at me. And for some reason or other, I could sit there and fill up and tear up. But when I leave that wall, I know that those 60,000 guys have seen me, and they know I came to see them. Once I leave, I have a pretty good few days.
And I think it's really important that they brought this wall to Ada. It gave a lot of people opportunity where a lot of veterans don't have the financial means to go to Washington, D.C. to see the real thing, and a lot of them aren't physically able. What we're going to do is run the box.
I have struggled mightily over the years with the common emotional afflictions associated with Vietnam veterans. This was a good chance to see the wall in a protected environment.
From the day I got there, I think it transformed my life, because as we were getting off the plane at Da Nang airport, they were bringing out all these caskets with American flags on them, put back in that plane to take back to the States. So my first day there, my first few minutes in Vietnam, just changed me right then and there. I'm saying, wow, I mean, there's been almost as many bodies going on the plane as there were live people getting off, We were armed security for convoys. And we were going through the provincial capital of Hue. It's Highway 1. There's only one main drag that went through Vietnam, and that was Highway 1. We got hit. And we got hit bad. They caught us with our, more or less with our pants down, I guess. We got hit bad. Trucks were getting blown up, and people were flying. And got off the truck and trying to take cover. There's nothing there but a road and rice paddies. There's really no place you can take cover, so you just have to do the best you can.
We came under occasional sniper fire, and the guys from the 101st Airborne and 4th Infantry, they would go out every morning and on the choppers, and about midday you'd see them come in with casualties. And we had a rock quarry about 8 miles to the west of where our base camp was, and it was blown up 3 times. But you'd always have to be on your guard over there. You really didn't know who to trust.
I was wounded in October of '65. That was a devastating blow. I went from 10 feet tall and bulletproof, truly believed it, to nothing. And after I was wounded, I was no longer involved in the war. I just saw it from afar. But when one is on point, one has to have a sense of invulnerability. I was more afraid of a tiger coming around the next tree than I was a VC. I knew what to do with VC. My friend Durwood Way, who was killed, names on the wall, good friend, close friend. One of the few of us who was mature enough to really make sense of it all. Made sergeant. He done good, as they say. And one of his kids panicked and jumped up and, like paratroopers do in the movie, charged the enemy with predictable results. And Ray crawled out after him and was killed. And Doc Harris, our company medic, first name Doc as far as I know. I know he had another one. I have no idea what it is. Crawled out and brought them both in. Took 6 machine gun rounds for his trouble. That's what we fight for. There were no flags waving. When I see the movies, I'm always struck by the fact that I don't remember the music playing in the background. And I don't think any of us were quite as handsome and well made up as the actors, but be that as it may, yeah, we fight for one another.
You know, you might have disagreements with your bunkmate, be occasional fist fight here and there, but when it came down to the bottom line, I mean, you were standing right beside each other. I grew up in Duncan, and there was a number of guys that I went to school with that were killed over there. In fact, I have one young man, his name was Cecil Belt, and he was killed out on his first mission.
His name was Eddie Gustafson, and we all had nicknames for each other. We used to call him Gustav, you know, German descent, and we just hit it off, you know, for one reason or another. He was a year older than I was. I was 19, he was 20, and we just hit it off. And my squad, I was a squad leader with five guys in it. I was the sixth, and he was my right-hand man rifleman. So he more or less protected my life, and I protected his. When we got hit, for some strange reason or other, I don't know why, he tried to make a beeline, probably from here to that street out front, a little bog and a rice paddy to take cover. And I hollered at him, get back here, and just as he got out there, a mortar round hit. And you could see it hit him. He screamed and hollered, and I tried to go out and get him, and my sergeant was in the area, and he says, no, Lou, get back here. I disobeyed orders, and I crawled out there to get him on my stomach. And he was still alive, you could see him, but there was blood everywhere. Just as I reached out to get him, another mortar round hit, and a piece of shrapnel went right under my arm. You know, you got a flak jacket on and a helmet, and the only place you could have gone was right there. It went into the top lobe of my right lung. But I managed to get to him, and I brought him back behind one of the vehicles. And I held him in my arms, and half his face was blown away, and I tried to comfort him, and in a matter of minutes he was dead, and he died in my arms.
The injury is one thing. The other is one does not go into physical combat and come out unchanged. You can't get there from here. How much it changed me, no one will ever know, because I was so young. I turned 20 in Vietnam. I don't know how I would have thought as an adult without that experience. And then when you add to it the experience of being cut down in my youth, if you will, and surviving it, that's just always been a part of me.
I became from a proud Marine to a very bitter Marine, and took volunteers to go out on a mission. I was always the first one. I wanted to go. I just wanted to pay back them people as much as I could, you know. And but I never was able to shed that extremely aggressive part of my life over that incident. And I'm extremely proud I went to Vietnam. I'm as proud today as I was when I went then. I ain't too proud of some of the things I had to do there that I opted to do there.
I know when I first came back from Southeast Asia, I couldn't even look at anyone with slant eyes. I mean, I had really a kind of a hatred. But through the years, I've worked through that, and I'm good. In fact, some of my best friends are Asians. In fact, I have a brother-in-law that's Filipino. He's a great guy.
I was welcomed back by protesters. I came on a medical evacuation plane, medevac. It was full of hurt kids, and we needed to get to a hospital because we were hurt in various kinds of ways. I've been shot to pieces, and with all that implies. I think I was relatively stable by that time in terms of threats of life. We landed at Travis Air Force Base, and the protesters were lining across the entrance to the base so that the medical conveyance couldn't get out. The ambulances taking us to the hospital in San Francisco could not get off Travis.
Day after I got out of the Marine Corps, I went down to my local VFW and I wanted to join up. I was still damn proud to be a Marine. And they looked at me. I wore my dress green uniform in with my medals and Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and a few other awards. We don't want you in this post. You weren't in a war. And these are fellow veterans. These were World War II and Korean veterans. And he looked at me, and so that's when I really clammed up.
There were back roads out on the base. We bounced around for hours on those back roads to get off the base because those idiots were lying across the entrance to the bases. They had no idea what was going on. But they didn't ask. I'm sure they were told, we've got these injured guys who need to go to the hospital, and they didn't care.
The protests and the hate that the American people had for us was just, I still can't, to this day, I cannot understand it. But the people at home in this country were just as violent to us as the enemy was in Vietnam. The only difference was they had guns. It's sad to say, but I felt more secure in Vietnam than I did back at home. One day I was working in a service garage, it's all the way up back in the 90s, and I was changing a guy's flat tire, and this young man walked up to me, and I had the American flag and a Marine Corps flag in my toolbox. He says, you a veteran? I says, yeah, I am. He says, what war? I said, Vietnam. And he stuck his hand out to me, and he says, welcome home. And I'm a grown man, and I just started to crying like a baby right there. I had to go in the restroom. I never heard that before. It's the first time in 30 years that I heard that.
Just within the last few years, I think people have kind of done a U-turn where they see the sacrifices and the misery and the turmoil that our young men and women went through over there, and they've learned to kind of appreciate us now, because people realize what those young men and women went through. Oh, it wasn't pretty. Of course, no war's pretty. We had to come back home and fight another war.
Vietnam is melding into history. I think the country, by and large, just accepts that it happened and honors those of us who fought it and leaves it there. Somewhere along the line, Vietnam veterans stopped being heroes and started being victims. I think it's apparent with our kind of our collective attitude, individual attitudes that we have. We consider that something was done to us. The public seems to consider that we were dealt a great injustice, which we were in our reception back home. We're not victims. The public was wrong. I don't care what the politicians do. They're going to do what's best for them. And if those with the power figure what's best for them is to start a war, they're going to start one. We know that going in. And so warriors stand up and go where we're told to go and do what we're told to do. We do it willingly. That's what warriors do. Warriors go to war.
I found it right there. Robert Louis Bennett. Awesome.
In Ada, when the wall was there, it was on the campus of ECU up there. That's the first time I've ever been on that campus. And they did an excellent job there with all the flags flying. And I think it's the greatest thing in the world. And they can get these monuments out to these various cities all across the country for people to look at. And I don't care what branch of the service you're in, Marine Corps, Army, Navy, Air Force, it's helped all of us.
Oh.
These young kids come up to you, they look up at you, are you a veteran? I shake your hand, and it's that means more to me than somebody putting a Congressional Medal of Honor around my neck. That just means more to me than anything. I've been to the one in Washington, D.C., well over a dozen times. And my health now kind of prevents me from flying up there, whenever I want. When these portable walls come around, it's the same emotional feeling. That's what they see. It's pain and anguish and honor and all these emotions mixed into one. And I know it's brought closure to me, and I know it's brought closure to a lot of guys that I've gone with there. They have helped the healing process tremendously for an awful lot of veterans.